I can't hear you, Zark. What's going on, man? Oh, boy. Yo, what's up, everybody, with the NESDay going on? There we are, okay. Swatched over. Past tense for switched. Haha. Okay. KB is going to do a casual any % run. So basically, he's not going to worry about getting perfect house order, which you can do by, depending on how you're playing, either if you're using a front loader or an original Famicom or an emulator, there's a couple of different methods. Mostly it has to do with holding the start button on power up, but also it varies a lot depending on which, like I said, version you're playing. So I can't exactly, I don't know the trick for, he's playing on. Okay, and he's back. Welcome back, KB. Sorry about that. Did stream drop there? Sorry, we're just waiting to see what happened here. Oh, did you just... Okay, I see what I see. Okay. KB, if you're ready, we can go. I don't know how much y'all heard, but just basically this game, I think a number of us played it as a game, as a kid. It was a game, and we played it as a kid. Music is great. It's really, the music is one of the best parts. KB's so nice, he's even going to show us some of the better jams, which require you to hang out a little bit and drain your sleep meter. But KB, if you're ready, you can go right ahead. Dave, if you can hear me. As soon as we see him mash through the start screen, I'm going to give a quick 3, 2, 1 go. So as soon as you hear me go, it's going to be on character appearance. Yeah, like I said, KB, if you're ready, I will try and catch it. Here we go. All right. See how he's doing. And okay, that was weird. Huh. Oh, it would appear to be stuck on my screen. Huh. Well, that's awkward and weird, so I'll just talk it through what I have been seeing. All right, so it looks like KB, like I said, is not worried about house order, even though it looks like is that the second house? Because I had to refresh because of unreliable connections. Haha. Anyway, did that thing where the screen froze, and now it's playing a commercial. Thanks, Twitch, because that's the most important part. Anyway, I won't bitch about that. Main criteria in the levels is grab the bones. You're grabbing pieces of Freddy's corpse, which I believe is the third movie. They finish him off in the junkyard in the third movie with holy water, if I recall correctly. So each level you have to collect the bones that you find. They're in mostly easy places to get. There are a few tricky ones over pits or with many enemy spawns, and they will bump you into a waiting pit, much like Ninja Gaiden or Castlevania. Gotta love it, right? So, clicking the bones, he's gonna pick up a power-up here. This first power-up he picks up is the Athlete. And the Dream power-ups are also from 3, so we're gonna see he's fighting a gloved hand on like a snaky arm, and he took some damage and took a death actually, but that's okay. So, when you're jumping and mashing the throw button, as soon as your projectile hits something or disappears, you can mash again, and you can throw basically as fast as you can make that thing disappear. The houses, the first 3 houses are in random order. Like I said, there's a way to set the seed, but KB don't do that, and I don't really blame him. It's very frustrating, a lot of resetting. There are 2 other power-ups besides the Athlete in the game, and KB's gonna pick them up. Normally, if they're in your path, you pick them up, but otherwise you just leave them be. You don't go out of your way for them. They are the Ninja and the Wizard. In the any % run, you only see the Athlete because it's the most efficient at throwing weapons. The others, very, very slow. The the only one that's possibly, I'd say if you're a beginner, stick with the ninja, because the jump, just the regular jump is an attack, and it has a hitbox that will protect you for the most part. So when you're learning this game, ninja is your best friend, but if you want a good time, athlete's the only way to go. Alright, and there's a spot where the bones are located in a place where the spawn will entice you to grab it and then bump you into a pit, possibly. Alright, the boss movement, I want to say is... honestly, I'm not entirely sold on any truth of this game. The bosses seem random, except for the ones that are attached to the wall. Kinda have, like, a fixed pattern. Not to say that you can manipulate it or anything, but mostly predictable. The only real switch-up is any boss that shoots projectiles will do so at a set rate, but there can only be like 2 baby bosses on screen at a time, for lack of a better word. So it's either avoid them or manage them, and it's really up to preference at this point. Okay, this is one of the early on tricky bones to get, but KB handled it quite well. So he's gonna play the beginning portion of the game, any percent style, and then it's gonna be mad casual from there on out. You're going to see him utilize the ninja and the wizard. I believe in the boss rush. He's not going to do the boss skips. I believe he said he doesn't know how to do them. It's a little tricky to pull off. There were provided some very nice pictures, but they weren't really they didn't really show a good clear lineup of the pixel you had to stand on. So I zoomed in, and I made some last year, and a bunch of people started running it. And I gotta shout out Very Simple for taking this game so far. Jim Jamboree, who was my partner for co-ops, and Darth Terriel85, who was our 3-player co-op partner, for grinding so hard to get the world record. Okay, we just saw KB, instead of jumping up onto the platform, he was trying to get a clip bone. So he was just trying to basically move enough of his sprite through the platform without actually jumping up on the platform, but still grab the required item. Alright, this part can be a little frustrating. There's that brat. But there's a bat that spawns that is at least twice as fast as the others. Okay, and when you respawn and you're flashing like that, or even when you get hit and you're flashing, sometimes, don't ask me to explain the mechanics, sometimes you can pick up the bones, most times you can't. It's very frustrating, especially when you are moving quickly and your brain is telling your thumbs, okay, we've moved past that, but in reality you've been hit and now it's management from there. Okay, DVD screen style boss. It's going to rebound off everything it touches, and KB is just going to try to hit it as close as possible so he can mash those spikes. But this boss, being unpredictable, can get a little out of hand. Also, the meter at the top of the screen is not a health meter, it's a sleep meter. Your health is invisible, basically. You just know it's 3 or 4 hits. I forget. This game is deceptive, like I said. So, now that he has entered the first 3 randomly selected, potentially seeded first houses, you run all the way to the end of the stage, and you go see Junkyard Dave in the junkyard. I'm sure plenty of us as kids didn't know that you have to do the first 3 houses. How many of us were like, what the heck, and just ran all the way across the overworld only to get massacred and not be able to get in the junkyard anyway? So the overworld is also very interesting. It's in a set pattern as long as you're always moving. Basically, the world's existing always, and as long as... Okay, he overshot a lot. I wasn't sure if he was going for something I didn't know about. As long as you're constantly moving, it will appear in the rhythm that you know it, but if you stop and try to fight, or if you get hit, you have to adjust. But it is a set rhythm. And this is the junkyard. This, in my opinion, one of the best songs in the game, if we're not counting the radio jam, because that's just more of like a 5-second jam as opposed to a level song. But a lot of pits, lot of things falling from the sky, spikes, boulders. The boulders can be unpredictable. Those bats dropping rocks are a son of a bee. And I'm sorry to use harsh letters, but I mean, those bats can really, really screw you up. Once again, they seem like they're on a track, but they can also follow you. So if you're out of there fast enough, they'll just turn around. But if you're a little slow, they will follow you. Okay, the dangerous tire section. And except for taking a hit, KB did very well. Alright, here's one of the flying bosses that spawn baby bosses. And wow, KB's doing so. Okay, there's one, finally. I was going to say, KB's doing so well, he's actually hitting it fast enough that he's doing damage and beating the spawn, but it can be tricky. There is a trick to jump over that snake. It's specific timing. I think it's 1 or 2 frames of time that you have to make the punch, jump on its tail, and jump again. All right, Cemetery. KB said this is one of his favorite levels, so he's probably going to be doing a lot of tight jumps here. There's a few turnaround jumps real quick. There's some jumps on bubbles, which, as we know, if you jump on a bubble in a video game, you have about 6 frames to get off that mug. But anyway, okay, here's a real, like, you cannot slow down here. You cannot slow down. That bee will get you. If that bee doesn't get you, that rock will get you. Here's that bubble. There he goes. Okay. All right, he's coming up on... This can be a tricky series of jumps, though. We call those the sperm fish. They're not usually a problem, but if you get hit by the rock and then try to immediately jump through the sperm fish, their hitbox is so big, sometimes you don't make it. Fall right in the pit. It's no good. Sperm. Spalm. Sorry. Throw the accent in. And yeah, like we see, like the power-ups are along the way, so you grab the ones that are easy. Here comes the tissue paper ghost. One of my favorite bosses in the game because he's relatively big compared to the bat. So a little easier to hit, and he clears them quite quickly. Alright, these rocks, you want to, as you see, they fall, they break into 2, and you run onto the first pebble and you jump over the other one. It's kind of a free timing once you learn it, but it's one of those things where if you mess up your timing, you're gonna feel it. All right, we are in Freddy's house, aka the crack house, and I believe KB said he's gonna treat us to a little musical feast here and give us a little something for the eyes at this point. I think it might be a little more towards the end, though, actually, if I recall the notes correctly. All right, that part can be a little wicked because that drip with those butts. That drip with the zombies right there. Something's gonna get you and knock you into a pit. So those 2 bones right there are incredibly hard to clip, but you can clip them through the bottom of the platform. But you have to do these wild jumps from out and then turn back. It's hardly worth it unless you want a really good time. If Pikachu learns how to do that, we're all done. Pikachu, the world record holder, the 1 player 90%, just for reference. All right, I think KB is gonna stall out here. So the sleep meter decreases based on your movement and based on if you take damage or not. So when you get hit, you lose sleep meter and you lose health that you don't see. But when you are not moving, the sleep meter also decreases more quickly than if you're running. So we're gonna start hearing. After a little while, it's going to fade here. That final peg's going to go. We're going to go. Woo, 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 woo. There we go. And now we're in the dream world. And any power-ups we picked up are valid. Otherwise, if you go into a Freddy fight, it counts as being like in a dream world. You get to use your dream warrior power-ups. And just for my memory, during the any like a full any percent run, ideally you don't want to fall asleep here, but obviously we saw KB did purposely fall asleep here. But you would still be awake through here, and it can be a little more dangerous when you're awake because you don't have a very defensible, like this ninja. Even though it doesn't get used in the any percent run, like I said, if you want to approach this game, the ninja is going to be your main source of navigation here. All right, I think we got a boombox coming up. If memory serves me, like I said, oh, you got to jump a little sooner there if you want to get that on cycle, but that's okay. Yeah, the boombox is right down here, so everybody get ready to jam. I want to see those animated dancing emotes. Let's go. Oh, we're not getting. Okay, we're not getting that boombox. Okay, I misunderstood. Well, we are getting a boombox. KB explicitly said he wanted to show off one of the best jams in the game. All right, this part can be, oh, yeah, just like that. There's a drip and a walking enemy, so you gotta be real careful how you drop down there. Okay, we get little gauntlet right here. Oh, you know, I think, is KB about to, yeah, I think KB wants some mess right here from Kruger-san. And actually, if it plays the tune, I lose count. But Freddy TM is coming. They had to trademark him. They didn't want you to think they were using just any old Freddy with a fedora, striped shirt, and, you know, claws on his fingers. That could be any Freddy. No, it's Freddy, but we own him. All right, simple fight. It's literally the same fight you do in the final boss room, except it's just contained to a smaller area, but the claws are coming up through the ground. It's really, it's just forecasting the final boss fight. It's really not hard at all. Just waste time. So we actually see one of the differences, the wizard has a higher jump. Oh, and he landed on the boombox. Let's go. All right. Wizard is very necessary in the beginning because when he gets to the high school, there's one jump in particular, and it's actually two jumps in one. Because you have to jump one way and then jump immediately back to get a required item, one of the bones. You can't skip it. But the wizard makes it possible for a beginner to make that jump. But if you want a good time, you got to do it either. I mean, you got to do it as the Waking Warrior, just the regular sprite. The ninja won't make it; he'll bonk his head. But the wizard is floaty. He has a good floaty jump. So by the time he bonks his head, he's already descending onto the platform. All right, the twin fight. This is a pain in the butt. This is one of the worst parts of the game when you're beginning and you get to this stage. It just feels like the entire screen is full of enemies, and you just have to really just take it, because there's only two. It feels like there's so many because the head is dropping drips. But KB's doing the right thing. You want to stay in the middle, dodge as much as possible, and just take the fight to the left and the right. There we go. The keys are the only way to gain 1-ups in this game. If you're playing solo, it gives you a 1-up, and it also fully heals you. If you're playing co-op, it gives whoever grabs the key a 1-up, but it fully heals everybody on the team. We actually tested that to be sure, and that's very merciful. Okay, that jump is very deceptive because you can bonk your head. Oh, he got it. You can bonk your head on the way back, too. All right, here comes that jump, y'all. This is I think it's 1 pixel both ways. I trust KB. There it is. There's now the return. Ah, it's so hard. Especially if you just got hit. Because that zombie right there, he's going to have to throw a punch or time it. Okay, he threw the punch. Whew. That's frightening. I'm just watching people do it, and I still get tense. I get all bunched up. Alright, there's actually a few floors. This is the final stage, but there's a few floors to it. So a few different piles of bones. So, like, you'll see he collects all the bones and drops down a stair, or goes up a stair, and then he's got a new pile of bones to collect. Oh, yeah, careful. Oh, man, he turned back there. There's another, right here. This spot is another little spot of contention. So you got that spike coming up. If you move too far out, it summons that fly, and then you're just trying to jump back up there, but there's a spike, baby! Just as long as you don't move the screen left or right too much, that fly won't come back. That's really the biggest problem, opinion. Flying enemies in any video game. Am I right? Am I right? And the cool thing about Nightmare on Elm Street, first of all, one of the best like movement, jumping, and other like directional, it just feels so good to jump in this game. And for not having a double jump, you get a lot of air. It's very, it just feels good. All right. The bones. I lost all my bones. Ah. I like something about these lockers. I really like the lockers. Nice dodge. Sometimes you'll run, jump, punch, and either jump over an enemy immediately or just be running through it if it takes more than one punch. Because like when they slide back, they're in a state of invulnerability or something. Alright, this is the final basement. And there's a lot of tricks and traps here. No, this is not the final basement. I'm sorry. I jumped ahead. I jumped ahead in my head. But nevertheless, still very, very... This is the final basement. I'm sorry. It's late enough for me that I'm going to use that as an excuse for my confusion. Oh, he missed the jump. Wait. What? Hey, what are you... What? What is that? Okay. Oh, okay. I guess he was just collecting the bones and maybe he fell by accident. I was like, is KB about to show us some strat that even I don't know about? Am I about to lower the co-op world record? But he said the last half of the run was going to be super casual, which I don't blame him. When you're improving your PV in this game, it gets very frustrating. I like to think I'm a mostly peaceful Zen person, and you know I can I can work my way through a failure. But this game tested my limits. So for KB to put this on in a marathon is, I mean, props to KB. He plays all the hard games well, but he doesn't play Milan Secret Castle. What? Oh, the call out in an event. Oh, and he asked me to help him and everything too. Anyway, I'm just kidding, KB. I love you, brother. Yeah, so he has to jump back up here and collect a bone that he missed. Otherwise, you would normally jump across the top and keep the flow-mentum. All right, now that red laser is gone, he's in the basement, and he's going to use the wizard to stay as far away from this boss as possible. Because this boss, you can be on such a good pace, and it will destroy any greens and bring on the reds. Alright, so normally you would want to count the bands on the back wall there, and you would stop after the fourth one and try to touch, I call it touch the piece of salt on the ground, because when you stop on a pixel, and then you immediately turn and turn back, it scrolls the screen just enough that you literally walk right by the boss without it even spawning. But you can glitch the bosses too, and that can be advantageous depending on if you're more comfortable with a previous boss. So if you do the trick, but if you go a pixel over without summoning the boss, if you run right, you'll summon the normal boss on the screen you're on, but if you go left, it will summon the previous boss. It'll be in a glitch form. The sprite may appear different. Pretty much the only one that does that is the head on a string, but it can appear backwards, upside down, or backwards and upside down. So that's exciting. But for instance, like when Fairy Simple's doing it, if she messes up the final boss skip, she'll run left and summon the much easier to fight ghost than the head and the hand pair of bosses. It's much easier to fight the ghost. The only caveat being if you fight a glitched boss, you have to defeat it with your sprite past the halfway point on the screen, because that's where the spawn point is. If you're to the left of that point, it will respawn that same boss over and over again until you figure that out. Alright, well, KB's only taken one game over, so he's got plenty of stock to get through. I looked up and saw his lives, and I was like, wait a minute. We got this. Alright, give me a hand, give me a head, give me a hand, give me a head, give me a foot. All right. So basically, it's like any boss rush. You face every single boss from the end of each level until the final boss appears. And there's a lot of fan service in this game. Like he appears, the final fight is in front of a furnace. Like, how appropriate for Freddy, where he was originally defeated. All right, and now that we are in the final fight, KB said it's time for Punch Out, baby. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, I can't say a Freddy quote because he uses bad words, but he likes the B word. He's a fan of the B word. He uses it in every movie. All right, Don Freddy Flamenco seems to be getting his ass handed to him right now. Let's go, KB. K Little Mac B, and as soon as he jumps off screen, it will be time. So as soon as we see him turn tail, and done. All right, KB. All right, he's tossing the bones. That's the ending. Tossing the bones in the furnace. Like I said, at the end of 3, which the bones are based on, they destroy them with holy water. So it's just kind of, they did their best to blend all the movies together. But I mean, you know, they had a big chore. What could they do? And I know AVGN tore this game a new one and like said what he said about this game, but that man was acting. This is a good game. But that being said, I love James Rolfe, a hilarious guy. But I love this game too. And I love Nintendo. I know we all do. And thank you very much for Junkyard Dave for putting on a whole day of NES for us to enjoy. Thank you for KB for asking me to do this. I hope everybody enjoyed my antics, shenanigans, and occasional information. Alright, well, unless KB wants to run that game backwards, I think that's all for me for now. And I think he's going to bow out of that one. Okay, Milan Secret Castle, KB, play it. Yo, thank you, everybody, for having me. And now a few words from KB.